Hey everybody, this is Sarah Spencer with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and this is Know Your Dogs. I am joined by our Georgia beat writer, Chip Towers. Chip, number one Georgia just beat Mississippi State 45-19, but actually it's kind of crazy. We already know what the SEC championship is going to look like. Georgia more games left to cover, and nobody wants to talk about that SEC championship yet if you're Georgia.
Yeah, you won't hear a thing in there about it. Ladd McConkey kind of acknowledged they knew it happened. Stetson says, well, I'm trying to get to the locker room so we can celebrate it. But pretty much everybody else, and Kirby himself, said that there's no celebration going on here. We're thinking about is Kentucky next week. And look, that's the mentality that Georgia has succeeded with last year, this year. This was a tough game. 45-19 really belies what we all saw happen in that game. It was tough. It was touch and go right there at halftime for just a minute. There were anxious moments, but man, at the end of the day, Georgia got done what it needed to get done here, and they clinched the SEC championship. They're going to play LSU in the SEC championship game on December 3rd, and that seems like years away right now.
Forever. The end of that first half, because you mentioned this game was messy for Georgia at times. The end of that first half, you kind of have an odd 3-and-out that is almost seemed like a wasted possession, and then you have a very, very dangerous punt return in Xavier Thomas just take it 63 yards to the house, and it was just such a bad way to end the first half, but then they bounced back. What did you see in this game in terms of just messiness, but how they were able to persevere?
Well, we had to see how Georgia was going to respond to that. To quote Kirby about the clock mismanagement there at the end of the first half, he was bad, worst I've ever seen here. And he was owning up to it. There were a lot of reasons. It was interesting to find out there that Stetson checked out of a run play into a pass play on third down, but he wasn't criticizing him for it. It was just, we shouldn't have given him the options, what he said on that particular play. But total mismanagement there's no reason in the world that Mississippi State should have been left with any time to return the punt. Then there's the fact that you allowed the punt return, and there were reasons for that too. Georgia was in max protect and all that kind of stuff. Bottom line, Georgia responded. They responded in the third quarter with 2 back-to-back touchdowns by Ladd McConkey and in the third quarter, and that was just huge. It was how they were going to respond, and that's how they said they talked about at halftime about what had just happened. He said, keep chopping, guys. We get the ball first. We got to go out there and do something with it. And, man, they did. 70-yard scoring play by Ladd McConkey on the second play.
How impressive was this game from him?
Ladd McConkey was unbelievable today. And listen, so was Darnell Washington. And, Kirby made a point he said those long plays don't happen if it's not for downfield blocking. So he credited Darnell Washington. So did Ladd McConkey for a huge block to get some free downfield. Marcus Rosemy-Jack Saint, another huge block downfield. But, Ladd's got to take some credit, too. Let me tell you, that boy can scoot.
He never takes credit.
No.
He won't do it.
He won't do it.
He's come on so strong.
He's so humble, and it's a wonderful thing. Georgia has a lot of humble players. Darnell Washington, though, had an unbelievably quiet game. And the first touchdown of the year, I didn't realize it. Stetson was surprised when he was like, I can't believe that's his first touchdown. That dude's a walking mismatch. But, hey, they got it done, and they got it done in impressive fashion. I would imagine the College Football Selection Committee is going to be impressed by what they saw here tonight.
Let me ask you about Stetson Bennett, because his second interception of the game set up Mississippi State on Georgia's own 22-yard line. Mississippi State capitalizes. That was one of the plays that made the game closer than it should have been.
Yeah.
Georgia was clearly the better team today. But, you make enough mistakes, you're playing on the road. There's cowbells, yammering in your ear. What did you see out of Stetson today? He wasn't perfect, but he doesn't necessarily have to be perfect for this Georgia team, as good as it is, to win.
Well, he was really, really good. His overall, it's unfortunate that he had the 2 big turnovers.
Because those are the things people are going to remember, but he still had a good game.
They were wacky turnovers, too. He had the one where the guy just absolutely snatches it out of the air with one hand.
Kind of freak play that he was able to do that.
Yeah, that was really freaky. But Stetson made so many other big plays. Kirby made sure to give him credit that there's so many plays that he changes from one to another or one side to another, and he said he from that standpoint, played as well as he'd ever seen him. But, you know, the turnovers but Georgia got the turnovers back defensively, and they weren't traditional turnovers on fumbles or interceptions. They were turnovers on downs.
Yeah.
Georgia had that 3 times, twice inside the red zone. That was huge tonight. Huge by the defense.
I wanted to ask you, so 9:54 on the clock in the fourth quarter, 38-19 is the score. Georgia wants to you just want to step on their neck a little bit and just put this one to bed. And Georgia holds them on 4th down. How big was that, and how did you see this defense handle Will Rogers, quarterback, and this Mississippi State offense, which can sometimes be sort of death by a thousand cuts? Kirby talked about that after the game. Like, they will just chip away at you throwing the ball.
Yeah, it was an incredible defensive effort. I mean, they ended up with a little bit over 300 yards, and most of that was at the end of the game. I mean, they got a lot of it on that last kind of wasted drive. But Jalen Carter, man, Jalen Carter makes all the difference in the world. Kirby talked about it here at the end of the game today. He had 7 tackles, another sack, a tackle for loss. Big game for Jalen Carter and Georgia's defense, and just unbelievable for what they've had to do back to back weeks. It's been a different offense
and without Nolan
every
Smith.
week. Nolan Smith not in here. You know, let's talk about Robert Beal making it back. That I was surprised not only that he was back, but you know how much he played. He played pretty much every down. And just great play all around. Georgia also got Javon Bullard a little bit dinged up. And so they were having to play with Tyke Smith most of the time at the Star. Just incredible what this team keeps doing. And there's a reason why they clinched the SEC East tonight.
And now you got to turn the page to Kentucky. And Georgia does not want to talk about the SEC championship. Well, let me tell you, because we asked them.
I
They
tried.
were like, no, we are focused on Kentucky, so we cannot take any SEC championship questions at this time.
Yeah.
Chip, thank you so much for joining me.
You got it.
Thanks to all of you for watching. Make sure you go to ajc.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel to find more videos just like this one.